Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. So I wanted to ask you, are we more advanced today? And, are we more advanced today than people 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, thousands of years ago? Um, I'm guessing most people would answer this question yes, of course, and really refer to like technology and all the research more to like science stuff. Of course, going to space. All these achievements we've made, um, and say, of course, we're more advanced today. Well, let me put it. So there's really two ways to look at this, just like most things, of course. Um, But, if you look on the outside, okay, the outside, um, definitely you can make the argument we're more advanced today when you look at technology. Like I said, like cars, we can travel, we can communicate. The just and unfortunately, like nuclear bombs, bombs and missiles. If you in research, like you could say, like in the health care field and all that, like looking on the outside, and that's what really is, of course, promoted. It's promoted in our education, promoted in any kind of media, like it from TV shows, movies to just like news, of course, advertisements, everything like that. But I really want to ask you the question: are we really more advanced today? Um, And what I mean by that is because I've mentioned before that everything on the outside is, first of all, is not us. Okay. We're not our clothes, our possessions, our money, or, man made titles, labels, man made groups. We're not those things. We're, we're not anything created by man. Let me put it that way. Okay. We are created by God, okay? And everything you see in the physical is all temporary. I've talked about this. It's all temporary. It's all death, because life doesn't die. If it dies, it's death. If it, and what we are, and I've explained this, of course. We are our emotions, our thoughts, our what we would call morals and ethics, and how we treat people. You know, what we don't see is really what we are and what's eternal and what's really important. Okay, because that's what we should be focusing on. To get stronger, to learn to learn lessons, to serve, to fulfill our purpose, that we were created for, and that's the way we gain, wisdom, peace, through desiring truth, desiring God. Okay, and so when you look at really what we are, not the outside stuff, but what's inside. Are we more advanced today than people were 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, thousands of years ago? Well, at least it seems like we're not. Okay. And partly is because, of course, there are rulers of darkness that use deception and on this world. And really, from a young age, we are shaped and molded to really think a certain way. Now, I've said before, you kind of have to expand your awareness, and to do that, you need to involve God. Because if all you know is in this box, there's no way for you to know what's outside that box. Does that make sense? And so you have to really involve God to see truth. And when really as far as society. Now, of course, there's at all times in our history, there's always been what we would say good people, bad people, whatever. But we are more, I would say, lost today than people were in the past. So it's kind of opposite than what we see on the outside. Um, and I mean, of course, you can always comment below, share your thoughts. If you don't agree, I understand, because I definitely thought the way most people think for most of my life. But it's kind of like we think technology and human advancement and all that stuff, when we look on the outside, is kind of like an up curve on the graph. But really, when it comes down to it, as far as understanding who we are, what we are, working on what we are, and focusing on what is important and what is eternal. I mean, there's always been different times in history, but I would say we're on if you looked at a graph, we would be on a downslope, okay? Because most of us don't even know who we are. And not only that, but when faced with truth, we fight it because we don't want to be a fool. But actually, we are a fool without exploring things. We are a fool quickly dismissing things. Oh, because that just can't be. Because our reality, our box, has been shaped from a young age and reinforced with all the technology, all the, from media and all that stuff. I mean, I'm using a cell phone right now where you have a discussion with someone and you go on a website and there's an ad with what you discussed about. I mean, that's really creepy, in my opinion. I understand it, advertisement and all that stuff, right? So, advertisement, marketing, all that stuff. But it's manipulation, and I've mentioned that before, but that's a different video. But really, in general, like if you look on the outside, yeah, you can say that we are on the up graph. The ups, it's that line curve is going in the upward direction on the graph. But when you look on the inside, in general, I think we've gone really on the downslide ever since Eve ate the apple. Because Adam and Eve were walking with God in the Garden of Eden. And again, like I've said, sin is going against God, which is going against life, which the wages of sin are death. I've read that verse before. And so I want to bring this up because if you've never even thought things about this way before, it's important to really think about this, okay? Of course, like I said, comment below with your thoughts and everything on this topic and what you think. You can say I'm nuts. I understand. I've been called worse. But, I really want interaction with these videos. So, because that's really the point, because I know it's taken me personally a long, long time to see truth, to really understand things. And like I said a couple years ago, God had really woke me up and shook me, and really it was like accelerated learning here. It was like bam, 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 for a bit there. And he's still working on me, of course. Right now, it's definitely patience and controlling my anger in terms of reaction. Like, for example, this is a side note, but driving. When people cut you off, or people are driving like 30 in a 55 mile per hour zone in the fast lane, that type of stuff. Like, it's funny because I would react with anger, and then and then I realize what I've done, and then I have to say, God, I'm sorry. You know me. So yeah, we're always a work in progress. But so I want your feedback too, because you're a creation of God. Everyone has different perspectives. I've learned different lessons. So the question, are we more advanced today? Please share your thoughts and everything below. Because again, if you look on the outside, yeah, definitely, I would say, we're on the uptrend. But that's all temporary stuff. That's all not important stuff. That's all stuff that's not eternal. Um, the stuff that lasts is eternal, and life is eternal. And the stuff that, what we really are is eternal. And when you look from that perspective, I think the graph is really kind of going on the downslope. But partly we're deceived. Okay, so I'm not, it's I think people really are always trying to do what they think is best. The problem is what they're looking at in that box, in that reality. And it's been manipulated and shaped for us at a young age. And if you think about it, these rulers of darkness have to constantly bombard us with these messages. And they still can't trap us. God is almighty, but we have free will. So if you decide not to lift that lid and look out, peek your head out of that box, that's up to you. But of course, the point of these videos is, if you don't know God, to involve him, give him a try, okay? Because he is truth, he is life. And when you choose and fight against that, you are sinning, because you're going against God, but who is life, who is truth, who is wisdom, who is peace. I've talked about the fruits of the Spirit before. You can Google Bible verse fruits of the Spirit and see what that is. But basically what it boils down to, and I've said this many times, comes down to love. What love it really is, not man's measurement, which is conditional, but really what love is, what God is. And he loves you, and he loves you infinitely. And anyways, so are we more advanced today or not? Please put your answer below. And if you like the video, thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And ring-a-ding-a-ling that bell for notifications to let you know when I've uploaded videos. And as always, stay strong and God bless.